Hello, I have got a new postcard here, and I am going to show you how to use your standards to design a postcard. So the first thing I want to look at are your colors. So I've put in here, placed in here a copy of your standards. So I am going to start by creating a color here, and I'm going to grab the eyedropper and grab this red. Say OK. So now this red color, if I click up here to see the CMYK breakdown, it's giving me RGB as 254, 2, and 79. So if I look at this breakdown here of your RGB breakdown for your red, it says 255 instead of 254. So the eyedropper is quite accurate generally, but this is a different formula. So I am going to set this color based on what this number is right here. So I am going to go to Swatches here, and I am going to create a new color swatch. I am going to change this to 255, and I am going to name it as New Music Red, and I'm going, oops, I'm terrible at typing, sorry. And I'm going to call this RGB. Okay, so this is the formula that was given there. Now I can copy this, paste it, and I'm going to make a CMYK value of this same color. So you see here the way it's got RGB here. So I can go up here, say new color swatch, and I am going to change this one to be, instead of RGB, CMYK. So this breakdown here is different again than what I see here. So this says 99 and 69. So I'm going to name this 99 and 69. And I'm going to say OK. So notice this is a CMYK breakdown, and this is an RGB breakdown. Oh, and I'm going to click on this again, and I'm going to change the color. So instead of it being the CMYK breakdown, I am going to call it New Music Red CMYK. OK, and say save. So I just created the medium blue here, and I am going to go and grab my eyedropper, grab your brighter blue here, and I am going to create a new color swatch again, RGB, and if I look at the RGB breakdown, it says 2385, 255, so I'm just going to change this to 255, and I am going to save this as New Music Bright Blue, and this is RGB. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing again with this one. I'm going to grab the eyedropper, and I am going to create a new swatch, and I am going to change it to CMYK, and I'm going to look at the CMYK breakdown, which looks like it says 91 and 67 and 0 and 0. Okay, and so now I'm going to say New Music Bright Blue, and this is CMYK. Now you can see that these look a little bit different, and it can be disconcerting. What I want to explain to you, in case you don't know, is CMYK, cyan, yellow, magenta, and K stands for key. Those are the 4 colors that are used with printing, traditional printing. And so if you were to actually look at a magazine cover and look at it really closely, and there's a magnifying glass, you'll see that it's actually made out of dots. And so those dots combined make up what looks like CMYK, looks like the full spectrum of color. So it's not like a photograph where it literally is printed as a full spectrum of color. It's actually dots. So, and so it's printing. And so when you put something through a color printer, it has color cartridges CMYK. And so what you're looking at on your screen is actually RGB, because RGB is light. CMYK is printing ink and RGB is light. So if you were to take those three colors, RGB, when you put them together, it makes white. And when you take CMYK and you put them together, it makes black. So that's a little bit of color theory there. But when you go to print something, there are variations all the time. And when you look at something on the screen, there are variations because everyone's monitor is looking different. So we do our best to try to match everything, which is why I have created color swatches that are as preordained by your design folks, rather than just using the eyedropper. But quite frankly, I use the eyedropper all the time. If I'm working with something and I've got a photograph and I want to have the type or title blend in with that photograph, I can go and take my eyedropper and grab the color from that. And right away, it's giving me the color that comes from that photograph. And then I can go in and adjust it to the way I want to make it modified. Okay, so now that we've got these colors here, I have got them in my color swatches here. Okay, the reason why I stopped was because there's this thing called libraries where you can store logos and colors and different things. And I generally have never used them, but I thought it might be helpful for you folks. But then I was researching it and there is a fee. So there's another whole workaround. The other thing is, I'm going to zoom in here for a moment. I have gone in here and I've created your whole color palette. And it's a little alarming to me that some of these colors are so different. And I wonder if the formulas that your people who made the standards might be a little bit off. So it's up to you. I can consult with you and advise you if you want and how to manage these colors because they are so different. But that's not what I'm here for right now. So I'm just going to show you how you can load these colors. I'm going to give you this document that has the colors already set so that in the future, if you go and create a new document, so we're just going to go create a new document, just going to say okay, and you want to go and use those colors that are already a standard. So while we're in swatches, up in this hamburger, which always has so many different things, you can go and say load swatches, and it will allow you to go into a browser and find this the standards that I'm creating. So I will label them as New Music USA standards, and you would say open. And you notice what it did here was it took all the colors that I had in this document in the swatches and it loaded them. So if you're doing any project, you can go and grab those swatches from another document. So that could be a very handy thing for you. So back to design. So I have placed your New Music logo in the corner here, and it's in this box, and I thought, oh, it might be nice to have it bleed off the edge there. So as I spoke before, it's not actually bleeding because you need to fill in the color that goes all the way to the edge. So I'm going to create this box here, and I am going to go to Object, Arrange, and Send to the back. So this is Object because it's a box, and you can move it forward, backwards, lock it, do all these different things in this area. So I'm going to say Send to Back, and you can see that it's gone to the back. You can see a little cross in that box. I'm going to grab my eyedropper and fill it with this logo color. I could have also gone here and grabbed the CMYK version of this color, but as we discussed, it's a little bit different. So for right now, I am going to use the eyedropper here. Okay, now that we have got the standards for the colors on here, we're going to go and access the standard fonts. So we've got Proxima Nova is your font. So to access fonts through Adobe, we've got the Creative Cloud logo up here. Very often you'll see it on the left-hand bar or wherever you've got your dock. So you can click either one. I'm going to click up here, and you can see this is where I was playing with putting color palettes in the library, which you can invest and see if that's something you want to manage, because there might be a fee for that. But at any rate, I am going to hit this F. So first you hit Creative Cloud, and then you hit the F for fonts. Okay, and so then you can say browse more fonts. This is showing the fonts that I have open right now. I'm going to browse fonts right now. And sometimes that pops up with signing in. And so I am going to search for Proxima, and you can see it's showing up here 3 different versions, and yours was Nova, so I can click on Nova. And so one of the things that's nice that they show is how different styles that you can do using your font, which could be very helpful for you, because when you have one font that you need to use a lot, sometimes you want to find other ways to be really creative with this. I used to work at the Botanic Garden, and we had 2 fonts to use for everything, and so I would use italics, bold, all caps. I would find lots of ways to be creative with just 2 fonts.